ABC 75. I wish I worked for ABC. Was it ABC? Did it from ABC? No, I like to work on TV station, Channel 33. Leave your offices in theaters or Sturgis? I don't know where our offices would be at. Matt's Bossy. This is Matt's guys too. Oh. Okay, looks like we got some weather coming towards us still. Oh wow. Looks like we got some kind of warnings. Definitely. Oh, our warnings all ended at 7 last night. 7 earlier today. Looks like we got some more severe weather coming. Looks like I'm going to check the weather report real quick and see what's going on here. Because right now there's looks like we got some tornadoes happening.
So all the keys out here, especially the ones farther out there, when you're coming in by ship in the 1800s or even earlier, it looks like turtle humps coming out the back. The Tortugas and most of the keys were rife with turtles, so the term Tortugas kind of stuck. And when they started to inhabit the keys out here, they realized there's no fresh water they can get from the ground there. So that's where the term dry comes from.
Our first destination is Garden Key, where the historic Fort Jefferson still stands today. The fort was designated a national monument by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1935. 57 years later, it became recognized as a national park in 1992. We are about 70 miles off the coast of Key West and 108 miles from Cuba at one of our nation's most remote national parks. Accessible only by boat or seaplane, this park encompasses 100 square miles of open water and 7 small islands, each offering its own unique flavor. If you look around, we're surrounded by crystal blue waters, world-renowned coral reefs, a vast variety of birds, historic structures, and even some shipwrecks. Because we are at Dry Tortugas National Park.
Huh. Okay, looks like we do got some stuff we could keep an eye on. So there is severe weather, guys, actually in Illinois, heading towards us. The report did say 3 a.m. this morning, which who knows? I'm just, you know. Do you attempt? I hate that song. Always means Zach was still. I have no family, no friends. Well, you need to see. You're even here from Z. Nope. I don't care anymore.
This was the meeting point in the middle of what's billed as Argentina's Lake District. And I was the first to arrive in a magnificent Porsche 928 GT. That is quite a view, and this is quite a car. I have always loved 928s because they were just so futuristic. I mean, this car is 23 years old, and it looks like it was designed yesterday.
And 928 has beautiful headlights.
It was the last good-looking car that Porsche ever made, and although it's a V8, it's quiet and dignified and elegant. If this were a person, it would go to embassy cocktail parties and know many things. Traditional V8s would push you in the swimming pool and then fart and think it was funny. Traditional V8s, well, like this, for example, they're brash and they're loud and they're childish. What have you done?
There it is. Not just a V8, the definitive V8.
Is it?
Ford Mustang, the Mach 1. Look at it.
It's a bit
Brilliant.
unnecessary.
Hey guys,
No, that's the whole point. Brick down. Everything on it is functional.
Is it?
Yes.
This rear spoiler, what does it do?
Nothing.
Does the front splitter do anything? Racing fuel filler cap?
No, it's just a cover.
Is the engine 19 feet long?
No, it's not.
Why then has it got a 19-foot bonnet?
Well, because they decided they wanted to make the Mustang bigger in 71. So they did. And they did that by just making it bigger.
I wish I had kids. I wish I had kids.
That is around there, and that's an Eddie Brock.
I always had sex you.
Yeah.
Sex in my house.
If
I had sex, mate. I wish I was having sex with
it's
Tiffany.
tremendous,
Right?
but I'm not.
I have
I
sex,
mean,
mates.
it's all just preposterous.
It's brilliant. It's what it is. It's the essence of V8-ness.
Should we just turn our attention now to the elephant that isn't in the room?
Yeah.
Captain Lost. What do you think?
I don't know. I've been thinking. I don't know.
Had to be a V8, so I thought you'd be able to save it.
What time is it?
It'll go on like it did
What time now? I'm here's
solid.
now.
Oh,
Oh. I think of.
In fact, we couldn't have been more wrong. No way! That is not him.
Not serious.
He's gone completely left. Just that he's blocked. That's it.
Hi. Gentlemen, the Lotus Esprit
Isn't it?
twin
Ooh.
turbo V8.
Have you been on a Top Gear special?
I've seen
Yes.
you. You have. I've seen you there.
Yes, I have.
definitely was. James, they're tough.
Yeah.
Some viewers don't know this, but Lotus does not have a good reputation for quality. Some say that this stands for lots of trouble, usually serious.
It has a hand-built V8 engine with two turbochargers designed by a specialist small British car making company, and that is a byword for reliability and motion pleasure. You know that?
Not, and you know
Should
that.
we just run through some of the detailing on it? The door
Carry on.
handles on this model are from Vauxhall Cavalier.
Correct.
Door mirrors are from a Citroen.
Don't touch it.
The gearbox in this is from a Renault 25.
Correct.
Because that was the best gearbox they could find, or the only one that would fit.
It was the only one that was fit.
And of course, the body is made from exactly the same material as a lavatory seat.
Or a bunny.
Anyway, have you finished being envious of my car? I can move on. Porsche 928.
Yes.
Fascinating. Hammond. Wowzers. I do like that in a slightly Richard Hammondy sort of way. Is that a Mach 1?
It certainly is. Yeah.
Look at that. Tell me that isn't magnificent.
Recording.
It isn't.
I'm glad it's grey though.
Why?
Because it's very businesslike. You can advise me on my mortgage later on.
I am, as always, the voice of reason and wisdom on this program. We could have bickered forever, but at this point, our challenge
I
arrives.
wish I had a mortgage.
We will now drive 130 miles to the house where Butch Cassidy lived when he was on the run from the law. 130 miles.
Oh, that's it.
Somewhere
There was going to be another, there's usually the other paragraph.
where Butch Cassidy is.
I love Butch Cassidy. My favourite film in the entire world is Butch Cassidy. And all I've got to do is drive a Porsche 928 130 miles to get there on road.
So I say it this way. What he's got to do is drive a Lotus Esprit 130 miles.
I can see now where they're going.
Yeah. They tailored it for you.
Amazed at the apparent easiness of our challenge, we've fired up the V8s
Hey guys, just on here just for a bit.
and plunged into the magnificence of Argentina's heartland.
This is a meal. Saucy chicken Roma.
He's gonna be on here for a bit because it looks like we got some weather coming. Yeah. Years ago. I wish I could make some money. But, yeah, I do. You can do make a few videos, but like I make $14 an hour. Yeah. I'm surprised not.
So what's the myth? The myth today has to do with the cause of the Hindenburg disaster. May 6th, 1937, one of the darkest days in aviation history. The giant German Zeppelin Hindenburg, with 97 people on board, hovers over New York City. That evening, as it comes into land at Lake Worth Naval Air Station, the airship suddenly bursts into flames. 36 people die in the inferno. History's largest airship is reduced to ashes in just 34 seconds. And an unforgettable image is burned into the memory. Doesn't everybody know that that was caused by the hydrogen, which is the reason they don't fill lumps with hydrogen anymore? Not according to ARM. ARM states that the cause of the Hindenburg disaster was its skin, specifically the dope and paint on its skin. This myth is not just wild internet speculation. The incendiary paint theory was actually put forward by a retired NASA scientist, Dr. Addison Bay. After studying fragments of the Hindenburg's hull, they cleared hydrogen as the cause of the blaze, blaming instead the airship's metal-based paint.
How much money? I'm too tired to have sex. Nice.
Turn up the heat, Deuteronomy, and with the paint theory to the ultimate tensor. In a world first, they'll build scale model Hindenburgs, cover them with a paint identical to that used on the giant blimp, and find an answer to aviation's burning question once and for all. This is my favorite scale experiment ever done. Let's stop. Okay, well, where do we start? Well, since the myth is about the skin, I think that's where we should start. We should find out exactly the type of fabric that was used and exactly what that fabric was coated with and replicate the skin in the shop and see how it grows. Okay. The Hindenburg skin was 100% cotton, treated with a kind of paint or dope, as it's known in the trade, which made the fabric taut and waterproof. The dope's ingredients included aluminum powder and iron oxide. Put them together, and they produce an extraordinarily explosive substance called thermite. Adams came to demonstrate. He's going to whip up a batch of thermite. From this cooking lesson, Adam will need the fire suit and its safety masks all around. So, just like a couple of nice apples. Take a cast iron skillet, add the aluminum powder and iron oxide, combine well. The thing is, they won't ignite by themselves. To get a thermite reaction, you need to add one or two secret ingredients. This ingredient is made of blur. And this has some blur in it too. Blur is very dangerous. You don't want to mix blur with blur. Add the mysterious mixture to the pan and retire immediately. It takes a few seconds for the ingredients to react, then suddenly you're cooking on a very high heat. 4,500 degrees, in fact. Wow! So we've seen thermite in action, and we know that the Hindenburg skin was coated with a compound
compounds that create thermite. So that's a check mark for the myth.
The question now is, will they do that in the dope solution? So I need some test of effects things.
Now the Hindenburg didn't have the same dope solution all over. The lower half had 3 coats of dope containing aluminum powder. The upper half had the thermite mix, a base coat of butyrate and iron oxide, then 3 coats of butyrate and aluminum.
Here's what I'm wondering. If aluminum powder and iron oxide are so dangerous, why use those two components to coat the Hindenburg skin?
Well, they figured that was the best combination to reflect both heat and light from the delicate inner bladders to help collect heat.
Good enough for me.
Jamie prepares pillows using cotton and aluminum frames that match the material used on the Hindenburg. On one panel, the fabric's left raw. The second is painted to match the bottom of the Hindenburg. And the third has the same dope mix as the top half.
This is basically just to find out if the dope has any influence on the speed of burn. So we'll start out with a raw piece of fabric, see how fast that burns, and then compare that to the other concentrations we have.
Adam sets fire to the untreated cotton. It doesn't so much burn as smoke.
You're going to high speed on this. We need a time lapse.
Anything you say, Adam.
5 minutes and 25 seconds.
That's not very fast.
That took almost 10 times longer than the Hindenburg took to burn the entire Hindenburg.
Okay, we've got our control. Time for the first dope test.
Bottom Hindenburg, plain dope with 3 coats of aluminum.
Yeah. You ready? I'm ready.
It's not a Cajon. The Hindenburg is 800 feet long. Only burning less than that.
Remember, there's no chance of a thermite reaction here because there's no iron oxide in the dope.
What was the time on that one?
2 minutes, 26 seconds.
The bottom sample burned twice as fast as the raw powder, which makes it pretty clear that there is a factor in the coating that has to do with how fast this thing burns.
Next, the dope that was on the Hindenburg's upper half. This is the potential thermite mix. Will there be a reaction? Adam and Jamie are trying to get a handle on the Hindenburg blaze. Wow! It was the airship's metallic paint to blame. The paint on this panel matches the one on the doomed airship. It contains aluminum and iron oxide, 2 compounds that combine to create explosive thermite. Will they get a reaction? Adam puts flame to the frame. Go. No thermite reaction. No intense heat. In fact, it takes 5.5 minutes for the panel to be consumed. That's almost twice as long as the aluminum coated cotton.
It's almost identical to the block by itself.
Wow. Hang on, guys. Don't write off this myth yet. That was one little panel. The Hindenburg was covered in thousands of square feet of material. Could there be a better boom on a bigger scale?
I mean, maybe there's some crazy amount that could yield an energetic reaction, but it's not this amount.
Obviously, the Hindenburg's designers didn't set out to coat their creation in rocket fuel. Those who had the paint theory say the aluminum and iron oxide couldn't have formed thermite because the compounds weren't mixed that way. The recipe was completely different. So that's got the Mythbusters curious. What would happen if you did a pure thermite on the skin?
It's more like a paste than a paint, but I think you can smear it on.
Mix it up. Make it. This is just a total worst case scenario. Can you actually make the thermite in the dope formulation?
Be careful when you light it.
Adam ignites the pack.
Time it.
Not exactly the pyrotechnic display we might have expected. They start discussing Plan B when suddenly,
Deuteronomy. Okay, wait.
Well, that's thermite.
you got that right. Wow! Once the megadope ignited, the panel was consumed in just 20 seconds.
That's dramatically different.
That was totally amazing. Well, I think that's the first evidence I've seen yet there might actually be something that's real. because that's the kind of burn I think of when I think about the Hindenburg color.
This was not what was on the Hindenburg. We have to make that clear because this was just like over the top crazy. The concentration of thermite in there was, thermite to dope was maybe like 75% thermite. And they wouldn't have, in any stretch of the imagination, quoted the Hindenburg or something like that.
And so, where the skin cells? Hindenburg was built with 200,000 cubic meters of hydrogen.
Well, let's burn some skin in the presence of hydrogen and see what it does.
The newsreel shows the Hindenburg engulfed by fire. Yet high school science tells us hydrogen burns with a near invisible flame. So what are we seeing in the disaster footage? Is it the skin burning and not the gas? Adam will burn some hydrogen to see what the flame looks like.